We are talking to former Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Her Excellency Ajaratu Mrs. Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang. We started talking about what might have led to her sudden release in 2018. There were suggestions that you wrote a letter while the president wasn't here and you were holding the fort, and you signed off as acting president, which doesn't exist in our constitution.
There was this, the current vice chairman of chancellor of the university. Is it Alpha Robinson?
Yes.
Is it Alpha?
No, not Alpha.
No, it's the other one, the brother.
Alpha was the brother at NAWEC.
Yes.
This is Herbert.
Herbert, it's Herbert.
Yes.
Herbert wrote a letter to His Excellency asking him to support his candidature for a position he applied for at Habitat, UN Habitat. Mm-hmm. And His Excellency had gone, he was in Mauritania for a mission. Mm-hmm. So according to the letter he gave me all administrative responsibilities, coordination of government business, entire government business. Of course, administration, including responding to letters, correspondence, and so forth. And when the letter came, Abdullah Jara was then the PS. I asked him, I dictated the letter to him. We had an excellent letter. I said, then I wrote on the, to sign off, I said, acting president. PO, like par ordre in French is par ordre, which is on behalf of His Excellency. Par ordre, on behalf of His Excellency. I told Abdullah, I said, Abdullah, is this in order? He said, it's in order. I said, well, take it to the Ministry of External Affairs. Ask them whether it's in order. If it is not in order, let them tell us what is in order, and then bring back the letter for me to sign. Abdullah came back and told me, yeah, Ma, they said everything is in order. The letter left the Minister of External Affairs. It went to the UN mission in New York. Then Honorable Dr. Mohamedou Tangara was then the representative, our representative.
Permanent representative
Permanent representative in New York. The letter got to him. When the letter got to him, he also, then he called, he sent the letter to the presidency and said that I had signed as acting president. You see? So the president called me when he came from mission. Yeah, he came from mission. He told me, well, they said you had signed a letter and as acting president. And
he said they, without being specific as to who did.
Yes, he said they said you signed a letter as acting president, and that is, I have found out that is unconstitutional, and it's not also, it's undiplomatic. I said, well, Your Excellency, at the time, I signed so many letters. I said, I can't remember signing a letter. I can't remember which subject it was, but I will find out and come back to you. I looked at the records and I found that was the letter. I brought the letter to him. I said, but Your Excellency, this is within the mandate you gave me. When each time you travel, you write black and white, these are the things that are responsibilities that you want me to fulfill, and this is within the realm of the responsibilities. He said, yes, you know, but it's not it's unconstitutional. I said, Your Excellency, this is how, that's what they have convinced you to think. That's how they want you to think. I said, but there's nothing wrong in this. I said, but if you consider what people are telling you, I say, I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry about it. It's not because I did wrong, but I'm sorry about it. Because at the end of the day, you are my principal, and you are the president. So he said, okay. I said, and I asked him, I said, Your Excellency, have you forgiven me? He said, yes, I've forgiven you wholeheartedly. I said, okay, let's turn the page. Then again, because I still realized in his the way of doing things, he was very cold to me.
Oh, he gave you the cold shoulder?
Cold shoulder. I decided to send Honorable Habib Drame to him. I said, Honorable, I have discussed an issue with His Excellency. He said, yes, he has discussed it with me. I said, please ask him. He has forgiven me as a believer, and I trust him. I said, but please ask him, join me in also asking him, just as we do culturally, to forgive me. Honorable Habib did the same thing. I again sent Honorable Malamin Job, Minister of Works.
By Lamin Job.
I said, please, I have an issue. We have thrashed it. He has forgiven me, but in the way he's handling, he's giving me a cold shoulder, and I know he's still angry with this. So Bailamin said, why will you be a problem? We will talk to him. They all talk to him. So this is not an issue. The issue is, I think it's political. That's my conviction. That is purely, removing me was purely political.
In order to bring in who and why?
In order to bring Ousseynou Dabo.
But Ousseynou turned the position down
He
initially?
did not, well, that's what he told people, but he brought in Ousseynou Dabo. You understand? And when he brought in Ousseynou Dabo, for me it was okay. I congratulated Ousseynou, because Ousseynou is one of my late husband's best friends. They are like brothers. They are best friends. So there is nothing fortunately, I thank God for that. There is nothing that happens to me that makes me angry against anybody. Everything that happens, I know God had already designed. So they were there. And what I would say, despite that Ousseynou replaced me, each time when he had crisis with Ousseynou, I went to him.
Oh, they had crises?
They had crisis. Do you remember when they were having crisis, talking at each other and so forth? I went to His Excellency many times and called him. I said, Your Excellency, you say this is your father. He says you are his son. I said,
one is Moses, the other is Mandela.
Yeah, I said, so please, 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 in the interest of the country, please, after all, you are the president, please make peace. He said, hey, you with your peace. I said, yes, that's my responsibility. I went to Ousseynou also. Each time there is crisis, I go to the stakeholders and I talk to them. You see, so for me, this happened, but this is not the cause of my dismissal.
It was political as far as you're concerned?
As far as I'm concerned, it is political.
And what are you most proud of all your achievements, during that 18-month period serving as Vice President? As
Vice President, I represented my country under the authority of His Excellency, or on the authority of His Excellency. I went to African Union summits. I went to OIC summits. And each time I went, I came in with victory. And it is His Excellency, who would tell me, oh, my colleagues, they really appreciate you. They think you have a lot of experience. You have represented us well. Thank you so much. I said, well, I'm doing it for you. Because whatever we achieve is you. You gave me the authority. And the OIC, the summits, one of the summits was for me to negotiate for this ECOMIC. Because when ECOMIC was coming here for the first time, people don't know. I was sleeping just for 1 hour when Colonel Baji called me. Ma, Usman Baji. Ma, he woke me up. Ma, the Senegalese are here to invade us. I said, no. They are here to keep the peace. I said, just allow them. So I organized, managed, influenced. I said, bring your people together, talk to them quickly, and go and welcome them at the ferry. And that's what they did. ECOMIC came. You can see, when ECOMIC came, I was all the time engaging them and reminding them about their mandate to keep the peace and to respect our people in uniform. because we don't have any people more than these people. They are gallants. They have been in the world and demonstrated their gallantry. So I said, you respect them. And that was the harmony they really played. The other thing is I went to the OIC. I went to OIC Istanbul twice, and fortunately I was able, through working with the team, because one person cannot do it, with Ambassador Omar Jibril Salah, very competent ambassador then Saudi, and my team, my permanent secretaries and so forth. We worked very hard to influence OIC to give us the chairmanship. We got the chairmanship for ECOWAS, for OIC. And then also, when I went to, each time I went on missions, I would ask all the ministers to tell me what some of their concerns are. And sometimes I know I'm in cabinet. So I would ask for things that they need, priority needs. Like the ferries. I talked about the ferries. When I went and met the Turkish government, I asked them to give us the ferries. I asked them to expand the National Assembly, because I realized, I went with the speaker then, Honorable Mariam Dentin, Jack Dentin, to expand the National Assembly so that the National Assembly members would have offices. I also asked them to really give us a state-of-the-art, the Francis Small Hospital, to really give us a state-of-the-art hospital. And I also requested for them, for Turkish Airlines to come here. And of course,
today we have Turkish Airlines.
Today we have Turkish Airlines. They agreed on all the things that I asked them, but the thing is that follow-up, there was no follow-up, especially when I left, there was no follow-up. And also when I went to the African Union, I was able to convince them with the support of the team that I had. Honorable Dr. Tangara was there, and Ambassador Access Guy was also there, with other members of the team. We brainstormed, and also our senior brother, Abdullah Jane, Mo Jane, really helped us to convince the African Union for Gambia to convince to come back to the ICC. So our coming back to the ICC was through my influence. We also came back to the Commonwealth Secretariat. Of course, you remember the Commonwealth that Jammeh had removed us. So those are the things. And then the Secretariat also, the OIC Secretariat, we were trying to, some government officials thought we should lease rent offices, but I said no. So I went physically to meet Sanyang, Fafa Sanyang, Honorable Fafa Sanyang.
The former petroleum minister?
Yeah, petroleum minister. I told him, we don't have money. So, women, we always economize. I said, I want you to really give me space for the OIC.
At Petroleum House?
Petroleum House. He said, Ma, just go around wherever you want, we will give you. So that's how the OIC went to the Petroleum House. And after that, that was pending the ICC. And I also negotiated for the Chinese to waive the loan, $80 million loan that they had, that the government had for them. I signed also with the Islamic Development Bank a grant for them to have this mile 7 to make it office space, to build office spaces and create a fund through which we can use for development. I was also trying to negotiate for us with the central bank to have a sovereign fund, to establish a sovereign fund within the context of the OIC. And we made also projects for like rehabilitation of the roads, rehabilitation of the security services, training of the security service in Turkey. All of those programs we had with Lamin Sane, a very great professional, Lamin Sane, who was then the CEO of the, I'm thinking French now.
OIC Secretariat.
Yes, of the Secretariat. So these are some of the things that I did. Of course, the ministry also, the Minister of Gender. We started working on it with Seka.
Abdul Salam?
No, not Abdul Salam. This lady at the Seka, at the Minister of Health now, I think. We worked with it and my team with Mariam Kamara. Mariam Khan was my PS. We worked very hard on it, and with Nancy Mendy to have a draft, a white paper on the establishment of the gender ministry. And also I negotiated for the Women Enterprise Development Fund with the OIC, with the former ambassador of EU, Lajos.
Okay.
Yes. So I
you achieved a lot.
And also, of course, the plan, the National Development Plan. I was the oversight. Oversight for the
popular NDP.
The NDP. Yes, I coordinated it in concert with the Minister of Finance, Amadou Sane, and the speech that was delivered, and I prepared His Excellency to attend it. He wanted me to attend it. I said, no, this is your agenda. This is a key agenda. You are the president. You are going, this is your entry point. It's your key to coming close to the partners. So I prepared him. He went to Belgium, and we prepared everything. Even the statement he delivered, I wrote it.
Wow.
I wrote that statement.
Wow. Does it bother you then that, all that achievement is largely missing in present-day historical reflection?
I don't regret living, but I regret that things that we had started under my leadership have fallen apart. And more so, one element that I shouldn't forget is the national think tank that I established, that I conceived and I conceptualized in line with the brain drain that we have. I had this vision of bringing back the diaspora, to invest in diaspora, giving their constitutional right to participate in governance, in leadership, and in the state national development. The nation building. I decided to have a national think tank. I had a lot of push and pull with my colleagues, but finally I established the national think tank. And that was to really an instrument, a caveat, a conduit through which the diaspora, competent diaspora, talent that we are losing in the diaspora can come. And I was also negotiating with UNDP, since I have that experience, to support it with a program that is called TOCTEM. They bring in the national experts, they train people on the ground, and maybe 2 or 3 years, if they find it good, if they want it, they like it, they stay. If they don't like it, then they would have built capacity and left it here. But, when I left, nobody talks about the national think tank.
Does it bother you then that, all your achievements sort of has gone down the drain when people, reflect today on, historical achievements?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me because I'm still working on them.
Okay.
I'm still working on them. I'm still pushing for the diaspora to come through advocacy. Because I can never forget the diaspora.
Diaspora in what sense? To be able to vote? Because, their money comes and we are enjoying their money.
Diaspora advocating that we have a constitution that will include them in voting.
Okay.
And some of these things that I'm also telling you, the reform process, some of the continuous achievements that I'm making is continuously engaging His Excellency the President to really ensure that we have the reforms. This is his agenda. And I even told him in March 2025, yes, I had a meeting with him. I said, Your Excellency, please try to accelerate the reforms, especially the constitutional reform.
And security sector reform.
And security sector reform. Because I was the chairperson of the National Security Council, according to the Constitution. And I spearheaded with Colonel Baji, or is it Captain Baji, who was then the in charge of the security reform.
Okay.
Colonel, yes, Colonel. We were working, we had the policy, we had the strategy. So the way forward would have been just to follow. And I was also able to influence ECOWAS and the African Union to come and support the security reform process. Just as I did to also convince the UNDP to give us a peace program, which is now, I think, at the Office of the President.
Okay.
It was supposed to be at the Office of the Vice President.
You mentioned the Constitution. I mean, how do you feel about twice being unable to approve a Constitution? 2020 and again 2025.
I'm disappointed as every Gambian. I have told His Excellency many, many times, even if we cannot do everything, because I appreciate the constraints, constraining environments through which you came, but at least let's have a constitution and security reform. Yes. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that the National Assembly, that the political leaders have not worked hard to ensure that we pass the Constitution. I'm disappointed that the 2020 Constitution was rejected. And I'm not a lawyer, but common sense does dictate that if there were reservations on the 2020, all they could do is to walk in caucus, do the amendments, different provisions, rather than bringing in a new constitution, 2024 constitution. I'm disappointed at that.
You've seen both of them.
I've seen both of them.
And you've heard both arguments.
Yes.
The parties in government believe the 2024 is better than the 2020.
Yes.
The parties outside government believe 2020 is better than 2024. So, you know what?
For me,
what's your judgment? What's your verdict?
My personal and professional judgment is the 2020. We could have gone with the 2020. And I also want to say that, you know, Khalifa, my brother Khalifa Sallah, he was very strong in saying that let's not have a new constitution. Let's use the 1997 constitution, amend the provisions that we feel are not really talking about democracy, freedom, and justice, like the age limit, of course, I'm saying the age limit, term limit, and other provisions, rather than spending so much money. So, well, majority carried the vote. We had the CRC. They did a wonderful job and gave us the 2020 Constitution, which is also called, that was the term limit. And also there was the issue of nomination. There was also the issue of really having the National Assembly to validate appointments of this thing. This is the countries, this is the prevailing circumstances, the trend, you know, because if we continue to allow President appointing and
hiring and firing.
Hiring and firing, it gives him really more powers than the people. So just copying the best practice today is that government, the President, His Excellency, can nominate and then send it to the National Assembly for validation. And that's why you have accountability, that's why you have commitment, and that's why people would work.
I want to talk about the economy and the future, but now that we are on the subject of the National Assembly, what do you think of the decision to raise the cost of participating in our elections, presidential, National Assembly, and municipal or local council?
Yes, I do agree with that.
You support?
Yeah, I support it.
Okay.
I support it because
what's your reason?
These are important positions. Important positions that require important investment. Wanting to be a vice president with $10,000, of course, it gives us scope for everyone to come in the race. But then we really have to have a threshold that is, of course, taking into consideration the ability, capacity of the people. So we need to do that. We need to do that. It also shows the commitment that people who want to vie for positions, National Assembly, presidency, are willing to invest. I support it, and I do hope that I will also be able to advocate for people who want to go into it. Not because I want to do this or want to ask other people to do it, but simply because it's something real, it's something realistic.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the economy. There seems to be a great deal of fear and uncertainty out there because of the way prices are going up and up and up all the time. What do you make of the Gambia today from an economic point of view?
Yeah, from the economic point of view, I have always advocated that we work hard to diversify our economy. We cannot continue to be a tax-based economy. Tax-based economy is not in the favor of our people. Look at the living standards of our people. According to the latest World Bank report, 48% of our people are living under the poverty line, but it's more than that. If it is really a realistic...
That's an improvement then, because the last one was 53%.
That was 53%. Yes. Now they say 48%. Now, so we need to really diversify the economy by really investing in the productive sectors. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Even in the agricultural sector, you have the horticulture, you have the livestock production, productive sectors, you have entrepreneurship. These are sectors that we need to really invest more in so that we diversify the economy. And also, we need to establish, my stronghold is that we establish the sovereign fund. A sovereign fund where we can use, which we can use for development. And that would unleash the burden on taxation of the people. I would also believe that we need to look into strategic partnerships, which is of course looking at foreign policies, moving from the traditional diplomacy to the trade and economic diplomacy, where our foreign service will be empowered in terms of human capital, competent people, people with experience, people who can bring investment into the country. We also need to really encourage our diaspora to continue to investing. If you look at how much of our economy comes from the diaspora through remittance, we need to continue to have that enabling environment for them to invest. We need to also move from the GDP way of evaluating growth. We need to go to GDP capital.
It's misleading.
It's misleading. Oh. It is an instrument that is made in macroeconomic instrument.
So all this year we hear the Gambia's economy is growing by 3%,
3%,
and
4%.
But the pinch is, bites deeper.
Exactly. It's just like Liberia. Liberia, before the war, went up to 6-7%. But if you look at poverty, it was really abstract. It was really stark poverty. So we need to look at the GDP capital, which of course takes into consideration the contributions of the productive sectors. And there also you need to empower the farmers, because they are the farmers, they are the conduit, empowering the farmers, providing them with incentives, mechanized equipment, fertilizers free of charge, and also buying their products, their produce on time, and paying them directly. They worked hard. So I would believe that the economy is really a downtrend, but it's never too late. We should all work together. And of course, I would call on every Gambian, the private sector, also engaging the private sector, providing incentives to the private sector. Like in Senegal, when His Excellency Abdoulaye Wade came in, he brought in many people from the diaspora, Senegalese, and even those who were on the spot in the country, provided them with incentives. Today you have some Senegalese who own banks, because that is one way also we can transform the mentalities and the policies of banks that are here. Look at the banks that we have. We have a small market. Everybody competing for that small market, economic market. So instead of having that, if government supports the indigenous enterprises, which are now really struggling. Most of the indigenous enterprises are struggling vis-a-vis the international enterprises. So they should be encouraged. They should be given the incentive, support to really be autonomous, because that's the vehicle for more creation, job creation for the youth and women. And I think that the issue of also migration, we can create some industries,
to stop the backway syndrome.
Stop the backway syndrome from our children dying in the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay, fantastic. I spoke about your role in the 2016 elections by convincing the parties to coalesce, come together in a coalition. Just ahead of the 2021 election, as a peace advocate, you issued this long, impassioned plea for politicians to be responsible, because the rhetoric then was really, toxic, would not even begin to describe it properly. And we are beginning to see again, slowly, going towards 2026, particularly the issue of tribalism. As uncomfortable as, the topic might be. I just read Professor Yoro Barrow's call to action about de-tribalizing, if you like, the political rhetoric. What do you make of the present political situation?
Yeah, the present political situation is worrisome. People are going tribal. People are using tribal politics, and that's not good for the country. Our heritage is national cohesion. Muslims, Christians, Jolas, Fula, Sarahule, Mandi, Manjago, whatever, we are all the same. Look at our national anthem. We strive as brothers and sisters, and that's the only way God will continue to bless us. United, we are stronger, and we can prosper also. But if we start this division through tribal lines, it's going to affect the country. It's going to, first of all, affect the most important element of our lives, that's the social fabric. I'm a Fula, married to a Mandinka. In my family, I have all tribes, United Nations, I call them. United Nations. And it's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. So I have called on, many, many times, I've called on political leaders to ensure that they educate their supporters. They should educate their supporters. They should really desist from this tribalism. There is no way they can succeed if we, the few, who are convinced that Gambia should remain one nation, one people, and national cohesive, we continue to advocate for people to come together, to understand, to unite. And they should understand God's creation. They should respect God's creation. If God wanted to have one nation, one tribe, He will create only one tribe.
Sure, absolutely.
He said, according to the religion in the Holy Quran, I created nations so that they can have the passion and commitment to know each other, understand and respect each other. And God has shown us the evidence. Bringing Yaya Jammeh from a minority tribe to become our president for 22 years. Bringing now His Excellency Barrow to be a Mandinka. And you don't know who next the person is going to be. So we should forget about that. Let's look at what matters. I call on all Gambians to work for peace. We have worked hard to come where we are, to reach the time, to reach where we are, the environment we are, peace and stability, which we, of course, we have had through the national reconciliation, peace and reconciliation. The political leaders have a responsibility. They have a moral responsibility to ensure that they advocate for peace, and to ensure that every political parties have some induction on how to make Gambia and keep Gambia as a nation.
Fantastic. I'm going to take the next 10-15 minutes to read out some messages that have come through. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Madam Tambajang is a role model for many Gambian women, and may Allah give her long life and prosperity. She did extremely well to diffuse tension between the SLPP and APC in Sierra Leone. I wish her all the best for the 2026 presidential election. Two things. First, I would want you to talk about, this good work you did in Sierra Leone, diffusing tension. And when people start, maybe messaging you, calling you and saying, oh, yeah, we are very glad to hear that you intend to run in 2026, would you now feel obliged to make it happen in 2026? Does that put pressure on you to go all the way in 2026?
No. I don't.
That's disappointing.
I don't succumb to pressure.
Okay.
I do. I plan strategically. I listen to views of other people, but I always make my own decision. And my decision is that I'm thinking about it. I'm praying over it. I appreciate the person who just sent this message, but I'm urging them to give me time to think about it, to pray about it, and then when the time comes, I will come back to you.
Okay, what's this SLPP APC thing you had to go and diffuse?
Yes, APC, the SLPP government and the APC, they had problems in 2023 October elections. The APC claimed that the elections were rigged. The international community also, sometimes how they behave. They were on the side of APC to the extent that APC people boycotted governance. They refused to participate in governance. They refused to participate in more so in the electoral process, in parliament, in government. So on the call of the African Union, the Commonwealth and the ECOWAS, I was asked to lead a delegation to be the joint facilitator. It was very tough. They were almost on the brink of going back to war. War songs and violence and so forth. But I mean, as I say, I always prayed about it, and I went. And it was really tough. But within 1 week, we were able to sign national agreement, unity agreement. They all signed it unanimously. They made 89 recommendations. And so far, it's about 30% of the recommendations are being implemented. Recently, this includes, of course, the people going back to governance, parliament. This is also meaning that they were paid their backlog salaries and emoluments. This means that the mayors went back to governance. This means that the president, His Excellency, made a call for peace. That was one of the recommendations. And then this also means that the National Peace Commission was empowered, was established and empowered to really work in ensuring that there is peace and stability in the country. And also fundamentally, recently, His Excellency gave amnesty.
Madabio.
Yes. His Excellency Madabio gave amnesty to so many detainees, political detainees. So we are following, and now they are also going into this constitutional reform, electoral reform, and so forth. So I'm following up behind the scenes, and I'm engaged
Fantastic.
in the process.
Let's do another text message. Hi, Peter. On the matter of her endorsement of the 2020 draft constitution instead of the government-amended 2024 version, what is her position regarding the clause on retroactive implementation? That provision would have effectively ended President Barrow's tenure in 2026, which, in my view, was fundamentally the government's main sticking point.
For me, I have told you I'm not a lawyer, but sometimes common sense prevails. Every constitution has a new mandate. Every constitution goes with its mandate. Just like you had in the issue in Senegal with Macky Sall. Technically or constitutionally, if we had passed this new constitution, 2020, His Excellency President Barrow would have had the opportunity, not the opportunity, he would have had the rights to contest under a new mandate. Under a new mandate. Every constitution, I'm not a lawyer, but it's just common sense. You cannot have retroactive, having 5 years under one constitution, and then because you had 5 years or you had 10 years or 15 years, you cannot become this thing. So this is, from my layman point of view, I'm just using common sense.
Absolutely.
Yes. He would have had the right to contest.
Absolutely.
For another term.
Absolutely. I don't want to keep you any longer than we have done already. 2 hours is a very long time to spend. How would you like to close this conversation?
I want to close the conversation to thank God Almighty, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, for making you bring me here to talk to my country. And I also thank Him for all the opportunities He has given me, God Almighty, to be part and parcel of nation building as a woman's leader. And I also want to thank Him for all the respect and love my country has for me, to the extent of regarding me as a mother. That touches my heart. I want to thank Him to say that for giving me the vision of standing up as a leader and having a conviction that falling is not failure, or disappointments are not failure. When you are disappointed, you need to look at what made you disappointed, rectify if need be, and move on. And also, I have to thank God Almighty for giving me the voice to convince my people to get respect from the country and Africa at large, to hear my voice and to respect my voice. When I call for peace and security, peace and stability, they listen to me. And I want to call on women to really not to shy away from leadership. They should not shy away from politics. All I'm doing is not for me. Age-wise, I am not doing anything for myself. Health-wise, you might see me well, but nobody can be 100% well. But I have a moral responsibility to stand up and champion the cause of women, which is women in leadership, women in governance, including political leadership, economic leadership. Leadership is not only being president. Wherever you are, you can be a community leader, starting from community, social, economic, up to national leadership. So we should all work together as a nation to build our nation. Government cannot do it all. Opposition cannot do it all. They are the leadership, but we as Gambians, I'm calling on everybody to really join the Van Vakon and work towards building a stable, prosperous, and a unifying country, as we have in our national anthem, and as God has asked us, command us to do in both Christianity and also Islam or any other religion. I'm also calling on everyone to know that wherever we are, whatever leadership we have, we must not look at one tribe. We must have national unity in government. We must have national unity in our churches, in our mosques, in our communities. Christians are, our family members, brothers and sisters. And that way we can move our country forward. I thank you.
Thank you very much.
I pray that God blesses the great work you are doing for this nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And that's it. That's our conversation with former Vice President, Madam Fatoumata Jallow Tambajang.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel James Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisol mu fay.
What?
Bisol mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. Ak Wave. Bisol mu fine. Wave. Your money is yours.